I've been on my grind just to live it out. Say what's on your mind just to hear it loud. Everybody knows me, really that's the old me. Going through some changes right here and now. I've been on my grind just to live it out. Say what's on your mind just to hear it loud. Everybody knows me, really that's the old me.
For sure. You produce everything yourself and whatnot.
Yeah. I still have all the equipment from the music, so I just took all my music stuff. I got different mics because we have to use I use condensers. You need to use dynamics for these so they're not picking up so much of the background
Outside,
noise.
yeah.
Yeah, things like that. But welcome back to another episode of Dope Individuals Only. I got another dope individual up here. Please introduce yourself.
Louis Holzman.
Hey,
what's up, guys?
He's like damn near a mentor at this point for me personally.
Oh, well, thanks, man.
My guy is a mogul, up and coming. He doesn't know it, but I do. he's out here making moves. You went to Allen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a year or two ahead of you.
Yeah. So humble beginnings.
For sure.
So how the hell do you even get to where you are today, coming from where we come from?
Mistakes, mistakes early on and learning from them and being like, this isn't the move, and being able to kind of pick that up and figure out what you want to try to make for yourself. And that's going to be different for everyone, but definitely mistakes is what kind of set the trajectory into a more of a positive. Yeah. Get learning from it. And I'm a big learning by doing type of person, so I'm pretty active in a lot of different things, and that's always been the case since high school. So just kind of continually learning from other people, learning from other experiences, and trying to kind of put that together.
Sorry, those are the dogs in the background. They're playing in my son's little car.
Hey, drive away, puppies.
Yeah, right. Please. I can't stand little dogs. Can't stand little dogs.
You got two of them.
Yeah, right. Well, the one's supposed to be leaving today. Hopefully, because I have enough animals in this house. I mean, as you can see, lizards, fish.
You got more than me, and I got 4, so that's impressive.
Yeah, man. I'm ready. I'm telling you. You want some?
No, I'm good.
Wait. What do you have?
Cat, dog. I got a gecko and a snake.
Oh, okay. So that's why you were paying attention to the beard. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't do snakes either. I don't want anything that can bite me just off the rip. Like I feed you and you're gonna bite me?
No, it's never even come close to even striking me.
No? Is it big?
It's like 4.5 feet.
That sounded weird. It's like, you said 4.5 feet.
Yeah,
that's a big ass snake, dude.
Yeah, ball python. It's not poisonous. It has like the tiniest teeth. It would hurt more if your small puppy bit you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's more of a perception type of fear for humans and snakes.
Yeah,
it's not like a big anaconda or something.
We get like little gardener snakes outside, but nothing. I just like kind of hit a stick on the floor and it's
right.
I don't do the snake stuff, but that's dope that you don't let the setbacks get you. I think that's a lot of our problem as people, where we get knocked down a peg and then we kind of get into fight or flight mode, and typically a lot of people run from the struggle again.
Sure, yeah. And I think failure is hard for people to conquer, because it's a big part of life. Failure and change, I think, are two things that are massively important and critical to overall growth of a person, and those are two things that a lot of people are afraid to actually take on, or even to fail or to change, and then see what's on that other side, because it's uncomfortable. It's not what you know. And
like you said, it's essential. It's essential to the growth process, because if you don't try, then there is no growth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I love that. I try to tell people that all the time. I'm not where you are just yet in what you do, but I get a lot of praise in my own aspects of life, and I'm just telling people the same thing. I'm just like, yo, man, you just got to try shit.
Right.
I think that's probably the one thing that sets people apart from being great and just being average, is the ability to not get too low when things don't go your way.
Right. Yeah, and I think even on that comparison standpoint, I'm not where you are either, because we as two people, we're going to live different lives, and that's how it is for everybody. Right. And so I live a big mantra of you can't compare yourself to other people. And in this day and age, especially with social media and whatnot,
that's all we do.
It's what a lot of people are doing, and then they're looking at that and afraid to fail or afraid to change based on what they see on other people. But it's it's not how it's not even close to how you can like really live and progress yourself forward. Otherwise, you're just going to be unhappy with yourself every time you start staring at that screen and scrolling through.
Yeah, it's never going to be enough. The goal line is always going to change. The touchdown line is always going to change, and that's because you're chasing something that isn't necessarily meant for you at the end of the day.
Right.
So what do you do now? I know what you do.
Yeah, no,
I'm
like, community oriented. I'm in sales. I'm in marketing. I'm in real estate. So kind of dabble in a variety of different things. Really, like shared value is where I'm at in my life, and trying to figure out how to bring that to everything I'm involved in. Whether it's, I work with business to business marketing and I run sales there. So whether it's something in that, working with clients, whether it's in real estate and being able to provide, a affordable, a clean, a safe place within a neighborhood for people to call a home for themselves. Well, there's other things in the community with Arts Commission or with the HR or with a variety of other different nonprofits. Like, what can we do to like really build up some of these communities and support the efforts of whether it's the people part of those organizations or the members that are driving those organizations forward. And I think shared value is huge, because otherwise, if you don't have that, then
you ain't got shit.
Yeah, right.
You ain't got nothing. So what do you do within real estate? Because you mentioned sales. Sales is your normal job, right? Your regular 9-to-5 job.
Sure.
And it so real estate, because that's really why I really wanted to get you up here, because you do something incredible that the average person can do, and a lot of people have no clue that they have the ability to do it.
Sure.
So how did you get into this? Because was this something that you wanted to do in high school, and after high school you just kind of jumped in, or? Yeah,
no, it was definitely midway towards the end of college that I started to turn to real estate of being like a really viable option. And it's not for everyone, like I said, everyone doesn't have the same goals, dreams, wishes, whatever. But when I was looking out and thinking like, man, I want to build a life for myself that is like a little bit above, I don't know if average is even the right way to put it, but just like, really be able to build something that I have a foundation to build I don't know if legacy is like too bold to say, but off of and like kind of build my own time freedom. Like time freedom is really what I'm after. And so, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not like something that is like raking in cash right now, but it's just something that I know building sustainable assets that in a long term with appreciation, some tax advantages, passive income, things like that can start to really compound over time. And that's what I'm in it for.
Okay. So when you started out, did you just go big right off the rip? Did you find like something cheap and rinky dinky and kind of built it up, or
I just looked for good shared value. Compared to what some of the last things I acquired, definitely is smaller, but you got to start somewhere. It was a 2-unit on the south side of Allentown. I ended up living there for about 3 years, and that was the idea, right? Like I came from college, I was living with my parents for a bit. I was like, what is the most financially savvy way to move out of my parents' house?
Find an apartment building, live in one of them.
Exactly. Live in one, rent out the other, and I was doing that for a while. But it was a lot of work. Like I cut my teeth on not only just how to underwrite the right types of deals and learn about the industry, walk through, I'd say at least 100 different places before actually making that purchase. I was probably looking at things for a solid 2 years just to learn and figure out. I was under contract 2 or 3 times before actually anything went through. And so then, once that happened, it needed a lot of work. Rents were pretty low. Like a house wasn't like great. So renovated both apartments, all by myself. Well, on our own, I should say. My parents definitely were a huge help.
Shout out to mom and dad.
Yeah, big shout out to mom and dad. But it wasn't like hiring out every single thing of work. Like we're doing the floors, refinishing the floors ourselves, doing redoing the kitchens ourselves, like laying down the tile floor, doing all that.
You went to YouTube University, didn't you?
A little bit, certainly a little bit, and then had some like good friends that were kind of DIY people themselves and were able to show us how to do the floors, for example, or do the tile. And there was for electric and hooking up some of the electrical lines, or some of the we refinished a walk-up attic that had no walls, and I put walls in there, and so I had someone put up the walls up and whatnot. So there's some things that definitely got help for, but try to just like learn as much as you could on that point to kind of know what to expect. And then now still doing a good bunch ourselves, but I was going to
ask that, like,
at this point,
did that game plan change the further you went along?
At this point, we have projects that are big enough that we can't do it ourselves. Even if we could do every single work, there's just too much going on.
Mm-hmm.
So having specialty people come in and handle, and we still do a lot ourselves, but roofs, HVAC, some major plumbing stuff, like definitely have trusted contractors that help us out with the little odd and end type things. General maintenance, handyman type of thing.
Yeah.
There's only so much.
Do you collect your own rents?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go and knock on the door.
No. So actually, with this past acquisition, it 4x the amount of units that we had, and so it made me kind of go through and figure out how do we scale this a little bit more so we're not overextending ourselves or trying to collect, because whether you're collecting cash, you're going through Venmo, you're going through Cash App, then it's going through to my personal Cash App, then I got to transfer it to a business, and it's like a whole. So I ended up bringing on a property management software, and it's a free software. It's not super robust. It's something that I hope to be able to grow out of sooner rather than later. But for now, it works. There's online payments. We do all of our leasing online now. It's direct ACH bank transfer. So probably about a third to maybe close to half of our tenants use that way. Okay. And then there's other handful that still just give cash, and we work with them on that basis. But
that's what's up, man. So is there a cap that you want to have? All right, I get to 10 apartments. I'm gonna be straight. I'm gonna go dabble in something else, or
but it's a lot higher than 10 apartments.
Yeah. 10 is too small of a number.
It's less about small, but going back to the passive income thing and being able to buy back my time. I love my job. I said I'm in sales. Really, sales is the lifeblood of anything and everything. You're always selling somebody on something for something, right? So I'm just generally an extroverted, outgoing, communicative person, and so with that, kind of going back to shared value, it's easy to be able to. You're not necessarily selling someone, you're just helping someone out with a problem. Right. Whether it's them buying the marketing services, whether it's them trying to find a good place to live, whether it is, being able to bring Thanksgiving meals to people because, families in need and helping raise money for that. You're helping to raise money from people. That's kind of selling them on, hey, help us raise these funds. You know what I mean? So, but there's a shared value in all of that and being able to build those respective communities. So, as far as the unit number go, man, I mean, it's definitely a 3-digit number to be able to get to.
Holy shit!
To be able to have that type of passive income where I can start to even think about, okay, I don't need to have my 9 to 5, my W-2 job. You know what I mean? And so that's pretty far down the line. And again, I don't even know if I would get to that point because I do like my job. Having that earned income allows me to move everything over into those, real estate assets rather than just putting it in a bank. That's kind of how I treat real estate. Instead of putting my money into a bank, I put it into a physical bricks in bank as the bank, and kind of let time take its course there.
I heard somebody say, I don't remember who it was, but I heard it on Instagram. He was talking. He was like, ask pretty much any rich person. He's like, they don't use banks. He goes, they use banks to pay their bills. He's like, other than that, all their money is tied up in assets and basically what you just said, things that are going to help grow their portfolio. Other than that, they don't trust banks just as much as the normal person doesn't trust banks. That kind of thing.
Yeah, do you feel it's less of a trusting the bank because in real estate, you're the bank, the lender. You got to look at them as your partner, right? Because they're gonna be unless you're coming to the table with some serious cash, they're gonna be the ones that are footing the bill for whatever that note is. So I look at them in a partnership sense in that regard, but I don't look at it in the 1920s or early 1900s when banks are crashing and all of a sudden you can't get your money out. I'm not too worried about that.
Even in today's market.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm naive, but I've never lived through a cycle like that where all of a sudden the feds aren't able to pay out the people. You know.
I mean, shit, we never lived through a pandemic either.
Yeah, but we did. We came out of that, and I don't know about you, man, but 2020 was a great year for me.
2020 was a great. This is the third podcast I mentioned it on. 2020 was probably, other than having children, getting married, things like that, probably the best year of my life. As far as growth, personal growth,
right,
and shit. Even it was the first time in my life that I got to take a step back and just be home with my family.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that happened for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Be able to
you
like
know.
step back, reassess what's important, kind of
Yep.
start chopping it that way. Then,
Yep. I got out of the truck driving job, which I like to do. It was cool, but it was only, I knew when I got into it, it was only temporary. And the pandemic afforded me, and oddly, like I didn't lose my job because of the pandemic. I lost my job like a week and a half before we went into lockdown, which is odd too. And then you know, it afforded me the time and space to get my shit together, you know, think about what I wanted next and things of that nature. And then we opened up the business at the end of the year, which was kind of the icing on the cake. And, you know, so a whole lot of personal growth.
So 2 years into since then, almost 3 years since then, how's it been going?
We made Star 4, which is, so they have a star system for Allentown child care centers.
Okay.
And the higher the star is, the more money you make and the more qualified teachers you have, the better curriculum you offer, bigger facility you offer. And Star 4 is really hard to make. I know plenty of owners in the city of Allentown. They've been open for 10 years plus. And I'm not trying to compare myself to them, but I'm also
Well,
gonna
when
make
you're in a
comparison.
similar industry, yeah.
And they haven't been able to get to past Star 3, you know? So just for us to do it, and we did it in a year and 10 months.
So
That's
what
how
do you
long it
think
took.
you guys did to like push it over the edge then?
We're hungry. We're hungry. And you know, it's kind of that drive, like you said. I'm looking 10 years right now, like you said, it's small potatoes, but I'm looking 10 years down the line. What do I want life to look like? And in order to have something like that, I gotta go hard now.
Right.
You know, it gotta be all gas, and you gotta take your lumps where you get them. You know, we've had plenty of setbacks. We've had inspections that, you know, where we thought we were gonna pass with flying colors, and we had to go back and change a wall or something like this or reconfigure that.
Sure.
But, you know, it's what are you gonna do? You either gonna bitch about it and quit, or you're gonna get it done and keep the ball rolling.
Right.
And ultimately, luckily, I have a wife that is driven just like I am, where it's just like, I'm not taking no for an answer. You know, and ultimately,
like you guys said, good teammates.
Yeah, good teammates. At the end of the day, you are only as strong as your support system is.
Right.
You know, before the podcast turned on, you were telling me about your parents, how they help you manage the new property that you got. That shit's essential.
Yeah.
You know, just to have people that you can rely on like that.
For sure.
So
sure.
what from the pandemic changed for you? Where's that growth come? Like,
Man, geez, that's a loaded question. I mean, I guess, you know, there's a lot of changes for everything from just simply working from home. You know, I was, you know, working from home every day, and then now that's been more of a hybrid situation since coming out of the pandemic. It brought me in and out of a relationship over the past couple of years. It brought me changing where I was physically living. You know, definitely new growth within, you know, the real estate side of things and within my 9 to 5 as well. Like we kind of really shored up some processes as a company as a whole. And, you know, collectively a lot of the management and leadership team put on a focus of how do we really grow and start to scale this business. And so that's been, you know, really good over the last couple of years.
Are you a part owner in your 9 to 5?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm in like the mid management though.
Okay.
So definitely have some direct reports, some responsibility around processes and being able to grow. But I mean, I'm on the revenue side, right? We have a small sales team. There's 3 of us, my boss, and then I oversee the majority of the day-to-day pipeline. So all revenue coming in, for the most part, new revenue comes through my desk. So that's a pretty, as far as growing the business and scaling it goes, that's a pretty important part.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. If you're not doing your job, you guys ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
There's only 3 of
Yeah,
you.
we'll probably grow about 50% this year. So
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that's a lot too.
Yeah,
That's
and we had a record year coming out of the pandemic, so we've been hitting a good stride there. That business has been going for about 18 years now. So kind of graduated.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for 6.
For 6. Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good amount.
Yeah, it's been going pretty well. Real estate wise, I remember it was August of last year, 2021. I was sitting at the beach and I was reading a book written by one of the mentors that I follow, and
If you don't mind me asking, who was it?
Grant Cardone.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know who Grant Cardone is.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
makes everything sound so simple.
He's
He's like, you're wasting time right now. You could be making money.
He's an eccentric guy. He
Yeah.
definitely knows what he's talking about. But yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for 30, 40 years and came from the dirt and has made an incredible life for himself. So
it's hard to tell a man like that he sounds crazy.
He's not for everybody. He definitely his word is not God, but like as far as sales and real estate goes, he knows what he's talking about.
I feel you.
But I read one of his books, and I was at the beach, and I was like, I put it down after I finished, and I was like, that's it. I'm committing. Like the next acquisition is gonna be 16 units or more, and like I got to be able to like figure out how to like grow and scale this if this is what I want for my future and my time freedom, and have that ability for choice and change. And I got to start really like aggressively scaling just real estate business. And so then, 10 months later, we purchased a 16-unit building. And
did it scare the shit out of you? Were you scared at any point of the process? You found the building, you're getting ready to go on the contract. Did you say, am I moving too fast?
There's no point where I was like scared, but definitely a point of like, all right, you're doing it. And for me, that point was when I took a loan against my 401k like retirement plan. I was like,
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, you can loan
Holy
against
shit.
it.
You can pretty much loan against anything from the way it sounds.
Yeah, but so I mean, in order to bring what I need to bring to the table to close on it, I had to tap into that. And so I was kind of one of those, all right, not turning back now type of situations. So
no cold feet over here.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Grant Cardone. Do you read often?
I guess it depends on who you talk to and what reading often means, but I've definitely read more often this year than I have in probably any year of my life. Definitely at least since school. Last year I read 4 books, and then at the end of every year I have a goal board, a vision board. I outline kind of like the broader pictures of where I want to go.
You got a vision board too?
And I earmarked 12 books for this year, so doing one a month.
Okay.
And we're in November now, and I think I'm reading my 10th currently.
Okay.
So I'm a little behind schedule, but again,
that's
way more than I'd done in
that's
years.
Impressive.
So.
Yeah, that's impressive. I've only read 2 books in full so far. I'm working on the 3rd and the 4th at the same time, so I like interchange between the two.
And don't get me wrong, they're not like big Bibles. They're not like little print with like most of them are like 200-300 pages, like decent sized text. Like,
hey man, I'm not trying to show you. The first book I read in full, it was only like 140 pages.
Yeah,
you need the time to do it.
You do need the time.
You need the time that you need the space. You need the quiet in order to be able to sit there and actually process what you're reading and things of that nature.
For sure. How about you? How about you? What were the ones that you read?
So the first one I read was a Nick Stone book. It's My Letter to Martin or something, or Dear Martin. That's what it's called, Dear Martin. And then the second one was Total. So 3 actually. Total Money Makeover by I forget his name. I can't think of his name right now, but I'll think about it. And then the third one was Rich Dad Poor Dad. So
those classic.
Yeah, and I did that one. I started at the end of last year and I finished it at the beginning of this year. And it was because like money's always scared the shit out of me. Despite like opening up a business 2 years ago, I put everything on my wife's plate. I was like, look, I don't want nothing to do with the numbers. Tell me how much we need to make, and then I'll let you figure out the rest. And then one day she was like just stressing out. She's like, listen, I can't keep doing this all by myself. She's like, and at the time we were trying to get out of debt. As I told you before, one random night my kitchen fell apart, and at the time we had only bought the house maybe 8 months before. So in the first 8 months, my entire kitchen falls apart, and we didn't have the money to fix it. So we maxed out all of our credit cards. We maxed out 6 credit cards to renovate the entire downstairs floor of my house.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good, but for a while we had like $25,000 in credit card debt.
Right.
And you know about credit cards, the interest rate's so fucking high that all you're gonna do is just keep pouring money into them. You're never gonna pay it off. Right. And then we ran into the Total Money Makeover after we both read the book, and that kind of lit the fire. We went into like an envelope system. We created a budget. We had to fucking eat like shit for months. You know what I mean? And then luckily we have income tax returns, so then that helped also. And then the pandemic happened, and this is where the pandemic really, really helped, because they weren't requiring nobody to pay anything. But what they weren't telling you was that, you were going to have to either put the money on a lien if you couldn't pay back what you weren't paying for 9-10 months, or you can pay it off in full. So we were like, okay, we got 2 ways. We're not taking a lien out on our house, and we damn sure don't got $25,000 to pay these people. we're just gonna make them wait. We made them wait, and we called them back. We're like, hey, we're looking to settle the debt, but we can't pay the full thing. And they're like, okay, well, we can only offer 60%. We're like, all right, well, we'll talk to you again in 3 months. Hung up the phone, called them back in 3 months, and by then they were just willing to take pennies on the dollar.
Right.
So we took everything we had saved, the little bit of money we got from income tax return, and we paid off $25,000 in debt with maybe $11,000 total.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I have absolutely no ambition. We have one credit card, and that's just so we can get like hotels, like when we're traveling,
right.
rentals.
Right.
Other than that, we still live on the budget plan. We save way more than we've ever saved and things like that. I forgot how I even fucking got into this question.
Talking about the money,
the money maker.
Book,
yeah. So that shit was life changing for us, and that afforded us the capabilities to be able to sit here today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now my wife runs the business, and I do this, and I write full time.
Cool.
And I owe it all to a fucking pandemic.
That's awesome, man.
At a time where everybody's life was uncertain, it was probably the greatest year for us.
Okay, and that allowed you guys to really step back and figure out how you're gonna make it work, but also what's important for you all to enjoy your time, your freedom, yourself, like what you want to be able to do, put out in this world, because money's important, right? Because you gotta use it as a tool to move whatever in your life forward, but at the end of the day, it's not the motivation. It's a byproduct of whatever you're doing. So
we've touched more money in the past 2 years than we've ever had in our entire lives, and it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what truly matters is this staying tight. You know what I mean? Everybody in this inner circle being taken care of and living happily and fulfilling. Right. You know what I mean? And the money's just a bonus that allows us to go and do things when we want to, or purchase things that we desire and things of that nature. But we don't do it for money. I could be dead fucking broke and I'll be A-okay. Right. It doesn't bother me. I grew up poor, so
certainly blessed in this life, that's for sure. Just living here and walking every day.
For sure. I talk about that with my friends all the time, about how we just take the little blessings that we get daily and don't even think about them. Just rolling out of bed and being able to stand up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I was having before the episode with Breathe the Love Witch, I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Yeah, I did. Of course.
Oh, I appreciate that. But we were talking about, I don't know how it came up, but my son was talking about like losing his legs. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'd rather lose my legs than be dead. Like, you could take both these bitches, you know what I mean? And I'm like going on and on about it. And I had known Bree since we were children. Like, she was probably one of my first friends in my life. So we knew each other since we were maybe like 8 years old. And her dad's like around your size. He's probably like 6'3", he's a big dude. And I asked how her parents were going off camera, and like how they were doing, and her dad had lost both his legs, and I didn't know it, like over the past 2 years. So I felt really bad for her, because I'm sitting here, I'm joking with my son, and I'm just cracking jokes, but I had no clue about her dad. She's like, listen, it's fine, he's okay with it now. It took him a while, but
I mean, talk about a life change. I mean, that's something you gotta like kind of roll with that adversity and figure out what does life mean for you at that point, like, and how are you gonna adapt to that new situation.
And like I said, he's probably like close to 60 now, so he lived a full life with all his limbs and being able to do all these things, and then one random day they're gone. And people like to take certain little things for granted. We got a lot to be happy about. Yeah, we got a lot to be grateful for. Sure. And I get in bad spots, but I try to make sure that I keep that in focus. Like all the things I need are right here. Yeah. And it's typically the wants and desires that are the things that are kind of.
And that's the comparisons. That's the distractions that can come up across it, that you got to really dig deep down and figure out. Is this a want or a need, or is this something for me and my happiness, or is this something like that I feel like I'm supposed to have or supposed to desire because of social norms or social pressures?
Yeah. And we live in a climate where instant gratification is so big.
It's crazy.
You talked about going on social media and you see the way these people are living, what they're driving, what they're wearing.
Even just getting Amazon dropped off next day delivery. Like, what?
Yeah. Shit, it's funny. I actually had a question. Are you going Black Friday?
Whatever. Yeah. Nah, really, I have no plans to go Black Friday shopping. I'm not a big shopper in general. I definitely did think about it because I could use some updated wardrobe, but like these jeans I've had since high school. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm infamous for that. I got t-shirts from high school, all types of shit.
But yeah, no love lost or any, for anyone that does go Black Friday shopping. I'm just also such a big like shop local, big component of like buy local, whether it is a local store or especially things that are made local. Just like the general consumerism, not even just for Black Friday, but just in general that we as a country has is incredible. I think I saw a stat that we consume about 20% of energy in the United States. The United States population, about 20% of the worldwide like energy, and our population size is 5%. So where like China they're consuming about 20% of energy, but they have a 20% population, so it's a little bit more of a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
So like we're super off balance with just the amount that we consume as a nation and as individuals, and what that expectation is, especially with that instant gratification type of notion. So I try to do my little part in being more conservative, living a little bit just like. I'm definitely incredibly frugal. Like, I don't have subscriptions to nothing.
No?
Like, yeah, man. Like,
you watch TV and shit, or
sometimes, and if I do, I watch on my parents' Netflix account. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and that's it. That's all I have. Like, otherwise, like.
So what do you do with all the spare time?
I just don't have a lot of spare time, to be honest, man.
I was gonna ask you about that because I know like you help out with the soccer stuff. You also got the job, and then you got all your personal business ventures.
There's like 6 or 7 nonprofits or like community organizations that I'm involved with. So really, any given day.
Can you shout them out here so that way people here locally know?
Sure. Allentown Young Professionals, a nonprofit that I and 5 or 6 others founded about 6-7 years ago. Big Brothers Big Sisters. I got a little brother. He's a freshman at Caddy right now, or I guess he's a sophomore now. Jeez, time flies.
There's no such thing as time.
Allentown Allentown Youth Soccer Club. That's another group here that I was a player of, and then my family's been a part of helping to kind of push that organization forward administratively for 10-15 years. Allentown Arts Commission that really helps with public installation and overseeing of the art within our community.
Like around like on the sides of buildings and stuff like.
Yeah.
Did you guys have anything to do with the one that's down here on American Parkway?
Right by 2nd Hamilton.
Yeah.
That's happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Hector's doing that one.
beautiful.
He's really beautiful. And so it's cool being involved with it's murals, but it's also sculptures and also the restoration and continued maintenance of them around. So we've done some lighting projects. So it's a volunteer group, but it's a city-run commission.
That's called what?
Allentown Arts Commission.
Allentown Arts Commission.
Yeah, and then similar type of structure with the HR Commission, Human Relations Commission as well.
Okay.
So I'm part of those orgs. And just
damn, you do a lot of shit.
Yeah, so by the time I get home, man, like, because usually even if it's like just an event with the chamber or some community event I'm going to after work, like by the time I get home, like I'm tired, or like I still have other work like for my 9 to 5 to hop back on and do like whatever. So there's always stuff that's kind of keeping it pushing.
Yeah, holy shit. I mean, I help out like in the community. Like I'm a precinct captain. It's more of a political thing where I go out and when it's election time, I try to help people like candidates.
I see you door knocking out here.
Yeah, shit like that. I do little things like that. We run a center and we do like a lot of community things throughout the center and stuff like that. But I'm a busy person too. But holy shit, you do like a lot of just like pro bono work. That's really dope. It's hard to get people to go out and volunteer their time and not expect something in return.
Well, it's shared value, and there is something you get in return there. It's a fulfillment when you see a positive impact you're making on a community, and you're not asking for nothing. I think there was something that my grandmother shared with me, and I don't want to botch it, but it was like there's like 4 Toltec myths or something like that, and myth number 3 was only paid work has value. And so if you can take that myth and understand that you can do other work that you're not necessarily getting paid for, but there's going to be value that comes from that. I'm a big believer in what you put out into this world, it comes back. And it might not be a 1-to-1, it might not be tomorrow, but like that effort, that energy that you're putting forward in that positive manner come back in some way, shape, or form. So with a lot of the community things, it's like meeting a lot of different people in the community, whether it is people in the city, people in corporations, or it's just people in the general like community in their homes, and figuring out like what is important to them, and so you start to build up that network a little bit, and you're able to have more impactful relationships as you start doing continued work over years, compounding efforts,
right,
and get more support than when you're raising funds for turkeys or when you're trying to figure out like where's the next wall we can throw a mural on or whatever it might be.
That's really dope. And we talked about this on not the last podcast, 2 podcasts before that, but it was about how you get more gratification from giving and just doing things off the strength more so than things that you're in a way being employed for. That's why I do a lot of the things, because it always feels better being able to give somebody than having to expect something in return. I don't know. That's always been a thing for me, and putting things out into the world that I want to see. You know what I mean? I try to like lead by the example that ultimately I want to see. So I treat people with a lot of respect. I give out love. I tell people all the time, if I can help, I'll help. You know what I mean? If I don't got what you need, I'll try to appoint you to somebody who got what you need.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, we are really if as long as we're all working for each other, I think we'll be all right.
For sure.
I think we'll be okay.
And you also have a whole other different, like, you know, I'm single. I'm doing my thing. Like, I got all these different organizations and people that I'm a part of. But, like, for you, man, you're married. You got a wife. You got 3 kids that are looking up to you, being looked at as a role model. So you're already that busy within the community, within the businesses that you guys are running. But then also being able to just, like, that additional most important job of being a father and being there and showing up and helping with school, helping with practices, you know, being that role model for them, looking and be like, man, my dad was doing XYZ, because they're not going to even be able to understand what that means until they look back on it 10 years from now and be like, oh, wow, he was putting on.
Yeah,
like,
he was doing some shit. I hope so. I hope so. Because like now, like when you talk to kids, like you said, they're kind of oblivious to everything.
As they should be, you know?
Like, my son, what did he say to me yesterday? He said something. Oh, because I had him come. He was inside. No, he was downstairs playing my video game, and I told him to come up here. I told him get dressed, and then he went outside and played basketball in the front for a little bit. And I asked him to do something with the dogs. I think lock the dogs up or something like that. And he sat down on the couch. He's like, you keep asking me to do everything, and this, and that. I'm sitting there, I'm like, and I had my feet up at the time. I'm watching football. I'm eating. You know, my wife had just served me a plate. And I'm like, you know why I'm telling you to do something? I said, because 364 days out of the year, guess what? I do everything, and I don't ask anybody to do anything for me. I said, but today, guess what? I'm going to kick my fucking feet up. And I'm going to sit here. I'm going to watch football. I'm going to eat, and you're going to block the fucking dogs up. Yo, it's you know. But I hope that he notices that at some point that, you know, 364 out of 365, you know, I am putting on that work, and I do it with no complaints. Right. You know, and I might not like it all the time. The work is the work, but the work is going to be done because that's my job. You know what I mean? And I take a lot of pride in being able to do those things because hopefully I'm creating good human beings at the end of the day. That's ultimately what I do it for.
It's very it's good to hear. It's definitely noble, and that's exactly what, in my opinion, what it should be. You know, like there's a lot of people, unfortunately, in this city that don't have that role model. Not just in this city, but in this country and around the world that don't have a role model like that. And so they're definitely blessed to have you. I had a father like that as well, and a mother that did similar type of thing. So
I was going to ask, what was the upbringing like?
Looking back on it, definitely a little bit more like traditional and like, I don't want to say hard ass necessarily, but like when I look out against like my friends or like how I was generally raised, like we didn't have like electronics. We like were very like kind of strict on like how energy was used within air conditioner, like turning lights off or on, or like like just like generally doing chores or yard work, making sure that, you know, we were home for the family dinner, like around the table. Like a lot of my friends growing up didn't have like family dinners around tables anymore.
We had to make sure we were home to eat, but we didn't eat at a table.
Like, so it was just like things that I like really appreciate now. Probably why I don't watch a ton of TV. I just never grew up like with a ton of TV or with a ton of like I bought an N64 when all my friends were getting Xboxes new, and I bought it at a yard sale. You know what I mean? It was like that type of situation. So I was never like a gamer. Like, so I just, but like the work ethic and things like that kind of were instilled into me from both of my parents like early on. I think like allowed me to carry through some of the tumultuous times that I had in my late teens and early 20s, then take me to like kind of a refocus and a reshifting,
They planted the seeds really early.
Yeah.
All the seeds that truly matter, I should
Yeah.
say. Because I mean, we get seeds planted, and sometimes they aren't the most productive ones.
Yeah,
You know what
right.
I mean? We all know.
You know,
People like that.
there's definitely bad habits that need to be unlearned, and it's hard to unlearn them, especially as a kid, especially going through teenage years. It's really until your adult life where if you have any type of bad habits, everyone has bad habits. I have bad habits, and to unlearn them is difficult because they're habits, right? But then to be able to really look at yourself, reflect on, what do I need to do to really change it up to be, if I want to try to hit X, Y, Z in my life, like you got to take that self accountability. And as an adult now, you need to be able to make that change, or else you're just lying to yourself. You know?
Yeah, you're on that hamster wheel. I'm gonna do it tomorrow, later.
Right.
And the one thing we don't got that we all think we have is time. That's been something I've been trying to stop lately. Is like I get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it tomorrow. You know, in the past 2 weeks, I went to 2 funerals, and in the past month and a half, I didn't go to the 3rd funeral, but you know, I knew him pretty well. But I've watched people close to me die, like fairly recent, and quite a few times. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. But the one thing it's taught me is like, you don't have time. You know, everybody's always waiting on. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow, and we don't value the time that we do have, and that's one thing I've been trying to do. I think I do that, but I want to do it just a little bit more effectively.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you said, like, you know, in my free time I'm doing this, in my free time I'm doing that.
That's why my schedule's always so jam packed, because I know like that time of being a commodity is so short. Like, you truly don't know what had happened. So I'm so solution oriented and like so practical that sometimes it's like an issue. Like
it annoys people.
Yeah. So like it's a balance, right? Like, so I don't expect, whether it's, you know, family, partner, or like friends, to necessarily get me 100% or like do the same act the same as but I also at the same time, like, I just am so solution oriented and am involved with so many different things that I want to be able to continue to like get the most out of the time that I have, not only just here on this earth, but like here in Allentown. Like, I've been here since high school, basically left for college, but came back, and then like kind of just like doing similar things to what I was doing 7-8 years ago when I first got here, but it's just been an evolution of things, compounded efforts over time. And then like a honed focus in on a couple different organizations that I've really been able to like get some traction with and run on. But, you know, I don't know if life will always have me here in Allentown, you know, so I want to be able to build some grassroots to be able to continue to grow, even if I do leave and only come back, you know, certain times of the year, you know, here or there. So you never know what life has in store for you.
So is being in, how do you feel about the city of Allentown? Like, you know, in totality.
I mean, I'm a champion for the city for sure.
You like it?
And yeah, everyone that knows me in any type of regard, whether they're from here or not, knows how much I'm like just generally involved around here, and how much I am a champion for the city, its growth, the effort that's going into it. Definitely not without its lumps. I mean, obviously there's a lot to work on. Something that I think I've started to like put into perspective about Allentown is that it's not done. It's not finished. It's there's a lot of change happening. There has been a lot of change happening, and it's not in like a nice, shiny, like done like place.
Right.
Where if you go to Bethlehem or Easton, there's some spots that are like a little bit more mature, have been, you know, whether it's revitalized or have been just like more trafficked for whatever reason, a little bit more stability brought to them. And they're smaller cities, but with Allentown specifically, like, it's definitely not done. Not just with your downtown development, not just with the riverfront, but just with what needs to happen in the broader community, within the school district, within the East Side State Hospital zone, within like, there's so many places over the next 15 years that we're going to see a lot of growth, development happen, both in bricks and also just in community. And I think that that's what's exciting, because for people like me and you that are doers, that want to make an impact, that want to have some type of, whether it's business or community organization or some type of seat at the table in that regard, like, it's a place that you can make that happen and kind of get your petri dish of a vision of whatever that is up and running and moving in a positive direction.
Right.
So
How do you feel like as an investor in the city of Allentown? I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's also in the process, just like I am, of trying to get into like the real estate game. And we were talking about places like in the area of where we would like to, try to get a property in. And I was telling him, I was like, a lot of people aren't fond of Allentown. I was like, but I think Allentown's a gold mine. I was like, there's so much growth that's been happening and going to continue to happen for at least the next decade to 15 years. I was like, I'm okay with being here. And he's like, I don't want to deal with the people and this and that. I honestly don't think it's so bad, but
it really isn't. And if the cost of living and just prices of things are much cheaper here than surrounding areas, and that's something that a lot of people that have been here don't even realize. So I think like what's really interesting about Allentown is the people that are like not about it really are the people that have been here as long as me and you have, or even longer, like 20, 30, 40 years, and have seen the change from what it was in the 70s and 80s, a downturn from the 90s through the thousands up until 2010, 2000, and so then people that are newer that have been coming to the city since 2010 or whatever, like they see exactly what you just said, tons of opportunity. They see like tons of growth, like a really diverse place, like a place where you can come in and actually buy a house and it be affordable. Maybe they're coming from New York, maybe they're coming from New Jersey, maybe they're coming from Detroit. I know people that came from Seattle. Like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like people that like, it's like, how did you find Allentown?
Yeah, how did you find? That's always my question.
Like,
little ass Allentown,
right? And the answer, a lot of it is the same. They look out, they're looking at different places that are high growth areas around the country, and per capita, per percentage, Allentown is one of those highest growth areas. And certainly the Lehigh Valley in general. And so then when you look at that, and then you look at, an hour from Philly, 90 minutes from New York City, 4 hours from DC, 5 hours from Boston, like
it's like a hub.
Yeah, it's a hub, and there's a lot of great jobs here as well for whether whatever pay scale you're at. Like you can find something around here that's blue collar, white collar, manual labor, skilled labor, whatever it is, like let alone from an investment standpoint. So I definitely see a lot of people from out of town as well, and I'm getting to learn and meet a lot of them, particularly in the real estate vein, that have been like looking at it, eyeing it up, or I'd be like, hey, do you even know this is happening? And then I do a site visit with them, and they're like, whoa, like I had no idea.
Yeah,
like,
look at this shit.
Like, well, like let's get something under contract. I'm like, yes, let's do it. Like,
make it happen.
Yeah. So
I actually like the trend that Allentown's going. Like as far as like the opportunity wise. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like in 10 years. We could have a bunch of big business come in here and kind of throw all this to the shit. But I think the trend that it's been on is doing really well, because we're seeing a lot of small businesses start up. We're seeing a lot of people, take chances on themselves, and bringing stuff up from the ground up. And I think Allentown, like you said, it's a great place to do it at, because it's not that expensive. It's not as expensive as being in New Jersey or New York or in the Philadelphia area. And then, you got the different cultures that are here as well.
Yeah.
The diversity is huge. We have a huge Syrian population, huge Spanish population, and I think that is probably the most important part, because you're seeing it from all angles. You're not just seeing like your normal, no offense, white people just coming in. And,
and I was going to even elaborate on that, where I think Allentown's doing a really good job now, in the past couple of years of starting to own that and starting to see some of that tide change from kind of the old guard, if you will, of the Pennsylvania Dutch white dudes that have been here for mad long and like are a little like grumpy. And to like, we have a half Spanish mayor. We got city council is diverse across ethnicity boards, but I think this is the first time that I'm aware of that city council is 4-3 on a woman to men situation.
I didn't even know that.
So, just things like that really show like change as young people on city council, a couple of them, and just think that getting a seat at the table, kind of going back to that and helping to facilitate what's more of the voices that are here in the city, and what does that mean for change, and how do we like grab on to some of the best things that Allentown is now, not trying to compare it to what it was in the 70s, because it's not that anymore. It's not going to be that. And so what do we do with the population we have now, and that continues to grow, to keep kind of, you know, moving that forward, and using that diversity and that cultural ability to really drive the development and influence.
I feel you. You know what my favorite part about the diversity is? The food.
Oh my God! Yeah. Yeah.
We have some dope ass food spots.
For sure.
It's not only in Allentown though, but
surrounding areas for sure.
Oh my gosh, the food is just becoming better and better.
Yeah, man.
I remember a time there was all you could get was like fast food or Chinese. Now you go get Salvadorian food, Colombian food, Jamaican food. Like we got some good.
There's a African spot and an Afghani spot.
Where's the African spot? Are you talking about Bethlehem? Right off Main.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name, but I know what you're talking about. Either. I went there maybe 2 months after he opened up. It was really good. If we're talking about the same place, I had I had lamb. I had some lamb. Oh man, that
Trinidad spot, Peruvian spots, like, you know, all types of Asian spots, and that's a big lump. But I mean, Malaysian, Vietnamese, like there's all different types of stuff.
Holy shit. Okay, maybe I'm not
Japanese.
Holy,
it's crazy.
Well, I know of some of them, but some of them I've never like Peruvian. I've never had Peruvian food. Malaysian.
I think it's over in Bethlehem. What's it called? Machu Picchu, I think.
Listen, you're gonna have to send me a couple spots, because we're like, the more food that comes in here, me and my wife are like, we gotta go try
Syrian food or Lebanese, like going to Damascus down on 2nd Street, or
never had it.
Or like Aladdin.
I did see Aladdin. That's over here on Union, right?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah. No, it's a really unique experience. It's BYOB. Saturdays they do belly dancing. It's a cool spot. But, you know, Damascus is like down around Harrison Morton, like really residential, not super trafficked neighborhood, but like it's I don't call it a hole in the wall, because it's like a nice respectable space, but it's a small space, but like super authentic food, has been there for like 30 years. Like
really?
Just like
Damascus.
Really, really, really quality. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Holy shit. Okay, so you're the foodie over here. You eat out a lot?
Enough, yeah. Yeah, probably more than I should, to be honest.
No, don't worry. The way my life is set up, the way our lives are set up, we have to eat out a lot too sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be weeks where we only get to cook one time because we're just boom here.
Right.
Getting kids to practices or staying later at the business.
Right.
You know, it just is what it is. It's part of the territory.
For sure.
But
for sure.
Yeah. I'm kind of used to it from my truck driving days, where like, you know, you're out there on the road, you ain't got no fucking choice. It's either this or you starve.
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. So I do have a question. It's back to the real estate.
Sure.
For somebody that's trying to get their foot in the door, what's the best advice you can give them?
I'll qualify the question. Foot in the door from a multifamily real estate investment standpoint, or like trying to buy their first home?
Have you bought your first home yet?
Not like besides that 2 unit.
Okay, so then let's stick with the multifamily then.
And I'll tell you why I haven't bought my first home, and this can lead into the multifamily.
Because you're a fucking mogul, and the first home is going to be a mansion. I know.
Nah, just because the for me personally, I'm happy to either rent in the house I'm in right now or live in an apartment that I've bought, because that saves my debt to income ratio and my lending capabilities to be able to, instead of sinking money into a 30-year mortgage that has me tied to one place, I can save that debt for something that put into an asset that will pay me. So that's kind of why I've taken that approach.
I seen
single guys.
Yeah. You know, that's a huge reason too, probably. I when I had first gotten into this, I think it was like earlier this year that you and I really started to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I had kept getting ads on Instagram about multifamily homes, and there's a black dude, I forget his name. I'll put his name in the description, but I signed up for his hour seminar. And he gave me the whole rundown, and I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but this is what I'm going to do when I get into the real estate game. And he was basically saying what you were saying, where he's like, you know, the first property probably should be a multifamily, because it allows you to tap into all of this. Like he was going in, like, I can go out, I can go get a multifamily home, and then I can live there for a year. According to the loan, I only have to live there for a year, and then I can go out and I can buy my first home, and I can still get all the perks of being a first-time home buyer.
Right.
And he was like, if you do it the other way around, you're gonna end up spending, however much you want to buy on the house, you're gonna end up spending a hell of a lot more if you do it this way opposed to buying the multifamily home first.
Right.
Me, I had a child by the time we bought this house, so I was just like, I need something where he's comfortable, and I didn't know shit about.
And most people are, yeah. It's a whole different school of way of thinking. Like it's a whole different school of thought. Mm-hmm. So there's not a right or wrong or anything like that. It's not like life stops and then you're like, oh shit, I fucked that up. Like it's like you maneuver life how you got to, and if that's something you want to get into, if you want to get into multifamily at some point, my biggest thing is just like go and do it. Like start walking properties, start crunching numbers, start underwriting deals, start figuring out like what do you want to look for, what do you want to be able to do.
Hold on 1 second, I'm getting. All right, it lessened a whole lot. So, all right, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
It's cool. Just go and do it, man. Like I mean, this is for real estate, but also just in life. You like go and figure that out. If it's something that you think you want to go do, kind of what you were saying before, it's like about time. It's like, oh, I will be able to do it tomorrow. I'll be able to do it another time.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better time than now, to start. Particularly on real estate, that's something that typically appreciates over time. You look over 100, 200-year history. There's some little dips like there always are in anything, but it's not big peaks and hills and valleys. It's a consistent thing that goes up, and so if you want to get involved with it, now is better than next year. Certainly better than 2 years from there. When I bought my house 5 years ago, it appreciated like crazy. Like I sold it for 100 more than I bought it for in 5 years.
That's what this house is going to be. I'm not going to sell it though. I'm just going to use it as a property.
Yeah, there you go. So just do it. Surround yourself with people that are like-minded that can help you. Like when you have questions, do your homework, do your research.
How did you find those people? Was it through a lot of the organizations that you work with, or were you like on Facebook groups or?
So the first, like for Grant Cardone specifically, for him, I found him when I was doing some network marketing in college, and just from a motivational and sales standpoint, found him, and then he was heavy into real estate, and so that kind of got my mind moving in that direction. And then when I came back from college, actually my high school lacrosse coach is a real estate investor here in Allentown, and went to Allen back in the day. Mm-hmm. And he kind of put me on, and still has been a mentor for me up until now. But then from there, just kind of like expanding that network, being out and meeting a lot of different people, going to local meetup groups or investing groups, or just being tied into the community in different ways, finding out who does this, who does that, and then not being afraid to be like, hey, can we chat? Can I buy you breakfast? Like, whatever it might be. Yeah. Just to try to extract some nuggets and like, again, make those connections.
Got to be willing to talk to each other.
Got to be willing to talk to you. Got to be willing to put yourself out there 100%, because no one else is going to put yourself out there for you. So you got to put yourself out.
And the worst thing they could say is no.
Right.
The worst thing they could say is no. I felt the one thing I'm happy about is because I reached out to Taylor, because I was talking we all went to school together, Taylor and my friend group. Mm-hmm. We played football together and things like that. So I reached out to Taylor because I had found out that he had a couple small properties. So I was like, all right, I don't have all the tools, so I'll reach out to him. And he's like, listen, I'll send you what I can. He was like, but reach out to Lou. I was like, what Lou? He's like, Holzman. I'm like, why am I reaching out to Lou? He was like, he was my mentor. I pretty much everything I learned from him. So I was like, holy shit, and that's how I came and found out about you, which is even more funny because we were teammates for like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Do you still play football, by the way?
Yeah. Like flag, you're saying? Yeah.
Okay. How you like it still?
It's good. It's all right. It's like, it's definitely nothing that serious, but it's fun to get out there and run around a little bit. I mean, the vibe.
Be a kid.
Yeah. So
60 minutes on Sundays.
Right. It's the fine line of like, this is fun. I don't want to get hurt. So
yeah, I'm good.
So it's like I definitely go hard, but not like that hard.
Yeah. So some people go a little too hard.
Right. Are you still playing?
I took 2 seasons off. I'm thinking about going back next spring. I don't know. I took the seasons off, one because I was like, I'm gonna try something new. You know, everything else in my life is changing. I was like, you know, I'll give something else new a try. And tennis was going to be my thing. You know, I bought everything. But I can only play at the handball courts by myself for so long. Nobody plays tennis around here.
Yeah.
And like honestly, I know I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite, but like I see these old white ladies that play over at Deerhoof every morning, but it's just like I'm not gonna go over there and bother them. It's like, hey, you trying to run a couple sets?
You gotta find some racquetball club or something like that.
Something.
To be able to...
Yeah. So I haven't found a partner yet, or like, you know, somebody to you know, bounce.
If you remember Isaiah Sanchez, Ben Canoff, or Mac McMahon, if you know any of them, they all went to Allen. They're my year, but they play tennis still every now and then.
I'm just trying to get a little workout. I'm trying to get my ass whooped.
Oh no, I don't think neither of them are like super crazy or anything like that. But as far as people I know that will still play tennis every now and then, that's who comes to mind.
Nah, I'm not afraid of getting my ass kicked. If you want to pass on their information or reach out to them, see if it's cool to pass it on, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you.
Because I definitely have you ever played tennis?
Not like formally, but I've like gone and hit it around.
I have. It's fun. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's more of a workout than football too. It's just back and forth.
It definitely is a whole different type of workout. For sure.
So all your muscles are being used. It's a total different game.
Yeah.
Once I tried it for the first time, I had like a newfound respect for tennis players.
Yeah, right.
And then I noticed that their matches can go like an hour long. I was like, fuck that shit. It was crazy, man. Crazy. We're at the hour mark. Any final words?
No, man. Just really appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Dope-ass individual yourself, so it's been great being
that.
on this. I appreciate you asking me, and kind of just going back to the share value thing. If I can do anything for you or for people that may listen to this or just in general, I look forward to keep collaborating with you as the years go on, man.
Hey, definitely. And do you mind if I like put like your Instagram or something like in the description? That way people, if they got any questions, because I'm pretty sure like we have like a lot of local people who watch your show, and you're probably gonna know the vast majority of them because we all went to the same schools at some point or another.
Right.
So, you know, if they got any questions, at least they could reach out to you.
Yeah, I would welcome that. I'm, a huge proponent of trying to help people get done what they want to get done, particularly locally around here, because I feel like I'm well networked to at least make a connection if I can't help them myself. So would certainly welcome that.
And I got a question, one final question. The Arts Commission, how did you become a part of that? Because that sounds like some shit I would like to be a part of. Because I love what's going on in Allentown.
For all city commissions, they are public meetings. They're posted on the city website.
Okay.
And you're welcome to join and hear what's going on, just like as an attendee. For the commissions in general, though, you fill out an application, and you either have to live or work in Allentown to be on these commissions.
Mm-hmm.
And you fill out an application, and you get approved by city council and approved by the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the Arts Commission, I guess this was probably in 2019 or so when O'Connell was the mayor, and I had a personal relationship with him, and I asked him like, hey, is there anything that I could do to get more involved? Because I was just looking to build my network. I was looking to get more involved with the city.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave me 3 different boards, and the Arts Commission was what I like gravitated towards, being a musician and drummer on the DIY scene here. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, man, we're gonna have to come up here again and talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
You know.
So no, I've been drumming all my life.
That's what's up, man.
So I lay down some beats for some hip hop stuff.
I've
done all types of stuff.
I've loved live instrumentation, bro. It's nothing like it.
Like with like AC and Black Dre and all that. Like I've done live shows with them before. All different types of stuff. So. But yeah, so that's how I got involved with that, and then kind of just keeping that moving, looking at a couple different boards, more housing and real estate related, since I've been involved with some of these for a little bit now. So kind of keep stretching my wings and see how it goes.
So, yeah, just putting your hands in everything and seeing what sticks.
Right.
I got you.
Right.
I like it, and I'm definitely gonna look into that because I think being a part of like something like the Arts Commission, I love what's going on in the city of Allentown. Like. It when you drive through, it looks like it's being taken care of. You know what I mean?
That's the idea.
And I like the fact that we're getting all these local artists to come out and showcase their talent. Like that shit's
It's a mix. It's a mix. Out of the, I think the stat was since 2019, we've done like 38 murals or something like that. And out of those 38, there's like 29 or 30 of them have been from local artists.
Yeah.
We've had a handful of international artists that have came in, but that's you need that. You bridge kind of the together, and then you build that artist community. And it's still not done. Like I said, Allentown is not done, and the murals and the process that goes in and around with that is definitely not done and refined. And so we're looking forward to continuing to push it forward.
Big shit coming to the city.
Yes, sir.
Big shit coming to the city. Any final thoughts?
Appreciate you, man.
Comments and concerns.
Have a good holiday season here as we head towards the end of 2022.
Yeah,
2023 is about to pop. That's
I
for
can't
sure.
believe it's fucking over pretty much already. Like. It's so crazy. This has been
time flies.
Yeah, there's no such thing as time,
no,
dog.
Man. Time and money, they're both fiat, you know.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Oh man, if you want to wrap up, we gotta kick into that.
All right.
No, but just time is something that humans created to be able to track and keep record of days and of time essentially. Yeah. And money is something that humans created. It is created as a way to keep track of value. There's the physical paper. It's a fiat currency. It's not tied to anything. It used to be tied to a gold standard. No longer is tied to.
Yeah, they just print.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just all that is. It's a promissory note saying, I owe you this, and so you have $1 that signifies that you were owed $1 at some point. But where money and currency really was traded was cows and chickens and gold coins
bartering,
and like shit like that. So if you kind of take that perspective into how you go about trying to acquire money, right? It's really acquiring value. Like, and then as long as you continue to level yourself up, you'll get paid money for the value that you bring to the table. So
you just dropped the hardest gem of the entire show in the last minute.
We only scratching the surface, bro.
Listen, I've invited every single guest up here that came up for another opportunity to come up, because at some point in the show we realized that we can continue this conversation.
I'm
so
sure.
Listen, this is your invitation. Whenever you're ready to go, we're ready to go.
All right, man.
Well, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I love
right?
You know me, I'm with it.
All right, sounds like a plan. Hey, I want to thank y'all for watching. Please like and share and follow everywhere. All right. And if this is your first time coming to the show, I hope you spin the block. And if you came back around for another, I hope you stick around. Hey, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're still amongst the stars. Peace.
I've been on my grind just to live it out. Say what's on your mind just to hear it loud. Everybody knows me, really that's the old me. Going through some changes right here and now. I've been on my grind just to live it out.